welcome to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
And before we take a single step further, I want to ask you to go ahead and subscribe to Rugby Obsession. Make sure you hit that button right now so you never miss out on any of the deep dives we bring you.
Definitely do that.
So today, we are exploring a really fantastic piece of sports journalism. It details the incredible rise of 21-year-old English rugby sensation Henry Pollock.
It's an amazing story.
It really is. We're looking at how his explosive entry onto the scene has caught the attention of Springbok legend Duane Vermeulen.
And I just want to emphasize right at the top here that this deep dive is a complete celebration of the next generation of rugby talent.
100%.
It's really about how this youthful energy just completely reinvigorates the sport. You know, it pushes the established veterans to stay sharp and really adapt.
Right. And the perfect backdrop for all of this, the setup for the whole conversation, is the upcoming Opening Nations Championship test.
Oh, in Johannesburg.
Yeah. Exactly. Johannesburg. On July 4th, you have the Springboks, who are the current world champions, going head-to-head with England.
A massive clash.
A titanic matchup. And to understand why this specific matchup is so highly anticipated for you listening at home, we should synthesize the team stats, just to see where both squads stand right now.
Yeah, and when you look at the numbers, it's so easy to see why fans are circling this match on their calendars.
Break it down for us.
Well, England finished the 2025 international season on this absolutely incredible 12-match winning streak.
12 matches. That's tough to do at any level.
Right, and they boasted a 92% win ratio. And for context, that was the best of all Tier 1 test nations.
Wow.
Meaning the elite top-flight international teams. So England was practically flawless, but the Springboks were right there behind them.
Always right on their heels.
Always. They were sitting at an 86% win ratio.
So you basically have the two most dominant statistical forces in world rugby meeting up.
Exactly. But the momentum has shifted just a tiny bit for England recently.
Right. They stretched that incredible streak to 13 matches with a victory over Wales that was in their first Six Nations test this year.
Right.
But then they hit a rough patch, back-to-back defeats against Scotland and Ireland.
And that rough patch, that drop-off, is exactly what creates the opening for a player like Henry Pollock.
Right, because they needed something new.
Exactly. When a highly successful system suddenly stalls out, you don't just look for tactical tweaks. You look for a spark. You look for someone who can disrupt that creeping sense of doubt.
And Pollock fits that profile perfectly.
He really does. He made his debut against Wales back in 2025, and he actually just made his first England start in that recent loss to Ireland.
The progression is so fast.
Yeah.
But what really stands out from the source material is that his potential was recognized way before he was starting Six Nations matches.
Oh, the Lions tour.
Yes, he was included in the British and Irish Lions squad for their tour of Australia last year.
Which is such a fascinating detail. Because being selected for a Lions tour at 20 years old, it's a massive indicator of how the coaching staff views his ceiling.
Even though he didn't play.
Right, he didn't feature on the pitch at all during their 2-1 test series triumph. But taking a youngster on a major tour like that when you have no plans to play him, it's a very deliberate strategy.
It's total immersion.
Exactly. Yeah. They put him in the room so he understands what the absolute peak of the sport looks like.
They wanted him absorbing all that pressure.
Sitting in the tactical meetings, experiencing the culture of a victorious Lions squad firsthand.
So that when he finally started for England, the occasion wouldn't overwhelm him.
Exactly. And that brings us perfectly to how he actually behaves on the pitch. Because Henry Pollock brings a very specific, exuberant energy to the game.
He definitely does. He's known for immense talent, obviously.
Yeah.
But the source heavily unpacks his on-field persona.
It's very visible.
Very visible. The football-like celebrations, the occasional gamesmanship.
Which can be so divisive.
Right, because traditional rugby culture is quite stoic. You score a try, you jog back to your half.
Head down, do the work.
Exactly. But Pollock is bucking that trend entirely.
He is, and frankly, we have to keep the tone completely positive here, because that kind of division is totally normal for a prodigy.
It's a sign of evolution.
It really is. It breathes fresh air into the stadiums. Eddie Jones actually recently weighed in on this, comparing Pollock's exciting style of play to former Springboks loose forward and captain Bob Skinstad.
Oh, that's a brilliant comparison. Bob Skinstad was famous for playing with so much dynamic flair.
Right. He added this layer of unpredictability, and Pollock is doing the exact same thing for this new generation.
He's merging that high-level physical execution with a very modern, expressive persona.
The celebrations, the energy, it's all part of the package.
Which makes me want to pause right here and ask you, the listener, for your take.
Hmm.
We really want to know your thoughts and opinions on Henry Pollock's football-style celebrations and his highly energetic play style.
Yeah, does it elevate the game for you?
Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And while you're down there, please take a second to subscribe to Rugby Obsession. It's the best way to make sure these deep dives keep showing up in your feed.
Definitely hit subscribe. So, speaking of that exuberant style, the source provides a really detailed look at how the opposition views him.
Duane Vermeulen's verdict.
Yes. Which is a completely different angle from the Eddie Jones comparison.
Let's quickly establish who Vermeulen is for anyone who might be newer to the current coaching setups.
Good call.
He is a legendary former Springboks number 8, an absolute physical powerhouse during his playing days.
A total enforcer.
And today, he works as an assistant coach with SA Rugby's MOBI unit.
Right, and that MOE unit includes the senior Springbok side. So Vermeulen is evaluating Pollock directly through the lens of an opponent preparing for a massive test match.
Which makes his comparison so gleeful and entertaining, because Eddie Jones gave a skin stat, but Vermeulen compared Pollock to Schalk Burger coming onto the scene. Vermeulen said, and I love this quote, "With all that long blonde hair, you first saw the hair and then you only saw the tackle."
It's the best quote in the article, because Schalk Burger was one of the most physically imposing, unrelenting tacklers in the history of the sport.
A wrecking ball.
Exactly. And Vermeulen is pointing out that Pollock's flashy exterior, the hair, the celebrations, it's essentially a smokescreen.
You see the showmanship first, but the physical execution that hits you a second later is just devastating.
It means he's not just a performer, he has the underlying brutality required for test-level rugby.
And Vermeulen's overall assessment is just extremely positive. He clearly loves the excitement Pollock brings.
He recognizes the massive impact he makes.
Vermeulen even stated flatly, "I can't say anything bad about him. He's a good player."
Coming from a World Cup winning enforcer who is actively coaching against him, that is insanely high praise.
And it leads to the ultimate compliment in the entire source piece.
The comeback quote.
Yes. Vermeulen actually admitted he would love to come out of retirement, even if just for a 10-minute comeback, just to face Pollock when the teams hit the ground in that first test.
That is just brilliant, and it reveals so much about the psychology of elite competitors.
It really does.
When a 21-year-old brings that level of fire to the pitch, it just challenges the veterans. It makes a retired legend want to lace up his boots just to test his own mettle against the new standard.
It's infectious.
It totally is. And just to tie it all together for you young players like Pollock, they bring this massive surge of energy that is brilliant for rugby.
Because it forces everyone to level up.
Exactly. It forces experienced players to stay on top of their game. They have to push themselves further and match that youthful intensity.
Which brings us to a really provocative thought to leave you with today.
Yeah, something for you to ponder before the July 4th test. When a player brings such unprecedented football-like exuberance and energy to a traditional sport, does it permanently change the psychology of the opposing team?
That's the big question.
Or do the veteran, experienced squads ultimately use that exuberance against them?
I love that framing. We really want to know your take on this. Drop your opinions and thoughts in the comments on how you think that psychological battle plays out.
We can't wait to read what you think.
And as always, please remember to subscribe to Rugby Obsession before you go. Thank you for listening to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive, and we'll look forward to you listening to our next episode.